Hi all, this is Skate, and this is the Tier 10 Leopard. I thought I'd get this guide finished and up as soon as I could because of the recent changes. Now, because of the penetration values this thing had, some people would sit in front of heavy tanks and just go shot for shot with them, which in a Leo is just not a good idea. So I thought I would share my playstyle with this tank and basically see if it helps anyone. Truth be told, I haven't seen any difference in the penetration values. And the reason I haven't seen any difference is because I haven't had to change my playstyle. The way I liked to play this tank is by constantly being on the flanks, by constantly avoiding as much attention as I can to keep my health, and obviously not to have my weak armor penetrated, and be taking side shots as much as I can. And the other key thing for me is using the insanely good mobility to try and get around the map as much as I can, relocating constantly. If I do have to brawl, I'll be aiming for tracks non-stop while I'm on the move. The garage part on this video I'm going to make shorter than usual because I want to try and get some extra games in. The other thing I want to point out very quickly, my voice may sound different to usual, a bit more weird than the usual. My throat is fudged. Yeah, so if anyone's wondering why I'm sounding more odd than usual, that would be the reason why. The other thing I'm going to say now and get out of the way is some of these games are prior to the penetration nerf and some of them are after. However, I very rarely shoot the front of enemy tanks, especially heavy ones, and if I have to shoot at the front when I'm in this thing, I will try and relocate and I will try and move or shoot weak spots. I actually contemplated deleting the majority of the footage and just starting all over again, but the penetration nerf wouldn't have impacted. It doesn't impact this tank that bad. It still maintains a very good penetration. I mean, it's got 255 penetration, which is one of the best now out of all the tier 10 medium tanks. And as I said, the way I like to play this tank, it didn't matter if I had 260, 270, 300 or 200. I'd still penetrate the same places that I did. So yeah, I decided to stick with it for some of it and obviously record a couple of fresh ones as well. So let's dive straight in with equipment. I like to run the rammer, the vertical stabilizer and coated optics. I like the coated optics because of the speed on this thing. You can get up early, spot and run off. The other alternative, obviously you can slap some vents on this thing. The way I play it, I prefer coated optics. It's more beneficial, I find. Now the ammo, I still don't run a vast amount of heat, but I will run a setup of 40 APCR, 14 heat and 6 HE. And then when we're looking at provisions, I like to run double chocolates and improved fuel just for that extra little bit of mobility. It's surprising actually, you can feel the difference. And then on the consumables I run adrenaline and multi-purpose repair kit and the normal repair kit. Because this thing has such good mobility, I didn't see the point in running the boost myself. Now in terms of tier 10 medium tanks, this thing has the worst armor out of all of them. But it has the best mobility. And arguably, I say arguably there because you can guarantee some of the comments are going to disagree with me, but arguably one of the best guns out of all of the tier 10 medium tanks. Now just quickly, you'll notice I am trying to tell my team I'm going to spot the middle in the hope that they don't follow me and they all go one direction and I can go off by myself, because that's exactly what I like to do in this tank. I like to be alone. I like to be in a position where the team can back me up, but I don't like to be the focal point. So I'll try and spot and either get out of the way or get back into cover. The other advantage of running around alone is you are less of a threat to people. They don't see you as much as a threat. If you're in a platoon with, say for example, an Object 140 and the two of you are charging up the rear of something, they're going to turn to you very quickly. As with if there's 6 tanks in one direction and you're by yourself in another, you can guarantee they're not going to be as interested in you as they would be in those other tanks charging at them. The other thing you'll see I constantly try and do is non-stop I like to go for tracks. That's my thing, is you've got to go for track shots with this. And if you're circling and you do track shots while circling, well, there's a replay here in this video, circling an E50M, taking his track off on either side as I go round, and he just couldn't keep his turrets up with me He didn't have any repair kits left because I took his track several times, and as a result, it basically just meant I could just take shots non-stop. You'll also notice I've relocated to the other side of the hill here. Reason being is because this is a safer side. Trying to pay attention to where all the reds are is a very, very key factor in this tank. But yeah, I mentioned arguably a good gun. Now, I would say it's arguably one of the best. With its current setup, 0.27 accuracy. That is insane. Couple that with the fact of 9 degrees gun depression, 20 degrees gun elevation, it is very, very workable. And although it has no armor whatsoever, when you're using that full gun depression, there is a very, very aggressive angle on the front of the turret of this thing, which means you can get some surprising bounces off it. You'll notice I was looking left there as well. It is, in my opinion, one of the most important things about this tank is being aware of your surroundings, being aware what tanks are where. Because if you get shot in the side in this thing, well, anyone who's driven a Leo knows how it feels to be taken in the side by HE. It really, really hurts. That being said, if I'm in a tank destroyer and I see the side of a Leo, I get very, very happy. It's, yeah. When I see a Leo go past me at full speed, show me his flat broadside, and I'm in my E4, oh, I'm very happy about that. Now, with its current penetration values, I do think it's important to point this out. You'll notice I'm constantly trying to shoot that object at the lower part of his chassis. Don't shoot around the gun, shoot around the lower part, because that is an IS-8 on the bottom half. And believe it or not, the armor is thinner. So although both sides, well, I say both sides, so both the top and the bottom of that tank have some very, very good angled armor. The lower armor is 120mm thick, as with the top casement is 187. So it's thicker, and as both sides are angled, it also means it's more effective. So that's why, with the penetration on the existing medium tanks, I would recommend aiming your shots at the lower part of that tank. You're more than likely going to go through in comparison to aiming for the top. Now that game got us a high caliber, a scout, and we did 5,264 damage on that one. But I also think that's a very, although we don't show much in terms of mobility in that game, it's a very, very good indicator of what this thing is like when it's working the ridge lines. You can literally pull up to the ridge with that 9 degrees of gun depression, take some quick snapshots and get back into cover. This game, on the other hand, is completely the opposite. This game is literally all-out warfare, and we do over 5,000 damage in less than 3.5 minutes. So you'll notice the first thing I'm doing is getting up the ridge, spotting. I'm going to try and get a cheeky shot off and then get straight back into cover. You'll notice again I'm constantly going for tracks. The accuracy on this is so good. You can literally go out, you aim for those tracks and you get back into cover as quick as you can. Granted, you don't always take the tracks off, but you'll notice literally every single shot I'm trying to take, I'm aiming for those tracks. And so far, we have been pretty passive in this game. We're playing the back line, taking a blind shot there just to see if we can get one into the T-54. And now that the Reds are basically cornered at one of mine on low health, I am pushing in to see if I can help and get around this rock and get some covering fire in for him, because he is on low health. Now obviously it would have been quicker just to go right. If I went right, I would have gone right in front of his gun. I could have taken some more damage. In this scenario, I'm right behind him. He's more focused on the Leopard PTA in front of me. Which means every move I'm trying to make, I'm doing it to try and get away from basically a gun pointing at me. Now check out this guy. One in the track. We go around the rock. And if you'll notice I'm going for the track again, we get one in that track. We're going around again. We'll get one in that track. That one doesn't work though. Now he is focusing on the Leopard PTA and he has 2 friendlies with him as well. So it's now me with 3 right next to me. Now, in order of most dangerous to me at the moment, I'm looking at the Leopard PTA, the Object 263, and there's an E50 on low health. So that is my priority. I've loaded heat, I didn't need it for the side of him, but I wasn't taking any risks to survive this situation. Now, the Object 263 I can hide from because he doesn't have his turret. The Leo, on the other hand, this enemy red Leo PTA, he has a turret and he is just as mobile as me, and I am very, very low on health. So I need to avoid that 263 coming around that way, and I need to work this Leopard PTA first. You'll notice as that object's going that way, I'll get one more into the Leo, and now that Leo is going to be finished off by one of my friendlies. Now that he's done that, I can't run out in front of an object 263, so I'm just going to go for his track, do some damage through his front track wheel, and he does not have a repair kit anymore. Which means we can get another one and basically just keep him stuck there. If I didn't go for track shots in that circumstance, I would have been shot to pieces. So if you are in a situation where you have to brawl, I can't recommend enough just aiming for those tracks as you run around. But 5,469 damage, and that was in 3.5 minutes. We fired a total of 18 shots in that one, 17 hit and 17 penetrated. Here is my example of what not to do in the Leopard. Right. If there is a big open map, and you have been spotted, and you can't see what's across that big open range, don't do it. Basically, use cover to go from flank to flank to move around the map. Now here, I can only see an M46. I'm spotted, and something bounces off my turret. Common sense would have been to back off, but no. I thought I'd be clever. Look how much damage I just took. And I think, okay, they fired. Nope, there's more of them. I got wasted after taking one shot. In other words, allow me to be a noob so you don't have to. Okay, this is an example of how to play this map correctly. And not to screw up and only do one shot and then get absolutely wasted like an idiot. Yeah, I wasn't going to put that in, but I thought it would be very important to show basically how to not do a stupid thing like I did. Now this replay is prior to the update, and you can tell because there is an E100 on the enemy team just raging away towards the end of the game. Now you'll notice that my mediums on my team haven't backed me up. I am alone on this flank, but I've noticed that they don't really have much in terms of medium tanks. So, I'm going to continue. Even though the T-54E1 on my team is saying Leo back, I'm not going to because I know full well that we're pretty strong on this flank. Also, if they see my friendly medium tanks over that way, they're not going to focus much attention down this side. That's my logic anyway. However, as I come up here to spot, I spot a Waffentrager, and I get nailed in the side there. Now this Waffle, we can only assume is suffering with some serious ping issues, because he is trying to turn his gun towards me, but he just can't do it properly. So I'm not going to risk it by leaving myself too exposed. I'm just going to take some shots and get back into cover, just in case he comes back. He's not going to, though. We know that at this point, so basically easy pickings. Now, once he's shot, nobody else is spotting me anymore. Which means, if I'm careful, and I take my time to go through the town, rather than around, out and exposed like I screwed up last time, I can actually get, basically, shots down this way. And, hopefully, I'll drop off the radar. Now, dropping off the radar is very important, to me anyway, in the Leo, because it gives you the element of surprise, because it's so fast, nobody knows where you're going to appear. Which means you can just pop up anywhere and they're not going to expect you, and more often than not, if you do it right and you go the long way, you'll appear behind them. So, at this point I could go in, dead straightforward now, and basically fight and brawl it out, or I can go the long way and go around the flank. They know I'm going this way, but obviously they're less concerned about me on the flank when they've already got two of my tanks right in front of them. So I can sit on this ridge, use my gun depression to come in and help my friendlies and get to the side of the IS-7. There is also a side of an ST. Now, that shot bounces off the side. Great. But, again, it's a prime example of, even though this is prior to the update, you're still on the flanks. Now, there's an Object 268 left. I have not seen this Object 268 the entire match. So I could just run down, but I'm potentially exposed. So I'm going to go the long way round, because A, I have the mobility, and B, I'll drop off the radar so they'll have no idea where I'm coming from. Now, as we're doing this, he appears and starts capping B, which means I can come around this way, and as long as I'm not spotted until the last minute, I have the mobility to get right up his butt. He's just not going to see it coming. So literally, he's distracted by my friendly over there, who's hiding behind the rock, and that's it. There is no way this tank is getting out of this situation unless I screw up big time. Which, in theory, I don't intend to. Now, I can literally just sit behind him and there's absolutely nothing he can do. So, yeah. Obviously, we know this one is going to be a win, and that E100 is still complaining. He's complaining it did nothing to help the situation. Apparently, this Object 268 is an idiot. I would disagree, because if a Leo flanks you and you don't have a turret, there is nothing you can do to stop that situation. Yes, he could have tried to pry me off against that building there, but it would have been too late in that circumstance because we were out in the open. But that game gave us 4,100 damage. I did do some missions there, which is why I got such high credits. But again, it's an example of how to use this tank on the flanks. Now we are back on Canyon again, and I am going to do the same thing I did previously. All the team have confirmed they are going right anyway, which means I don't need to tell them what I'm doing, because in theory you can see them all going that way, so I can push the middle. I'm basically giving my entire gameplay away. Yeah. If anyone sees me in a Leo on Canyon going forward, they are going straight for the middle to kill me. I guarantee it. Either that, or they're going to be in their Death Stars, aimed, ready, waiting for me to pop up by here to spot, and they're just going to nail me. Great. But yeah, this spot works perfect for this tank. I've been spotted, but I can see where they're going, which allows my team to know where they're going. I bounced the return shot off that IS-7 then, and I did manage to get one straight through his side. You'll notice I'm not wasting time just sitting there waiting for return fire on me. I'm moving up and down constantly. Once I know it's clear, I'll go in. And again, going to the side of an IS-7, no problem at all. But I have been flanked by the enemy Leo. And I've just bounced off the back of my turret. Surprisingly, when this thing has angles, it does bounce some shots. And there's another one coming in, so I do need to go down a little bit while trying to keep an eye on this Leo by here. Yeah, this is a rock in a hard place situation. So, the Leo is not moving, which is why I'm ignoring him again, and I'm pushing up forward. But as soon as I do that, he comes down and has a look at me. Which means I'm going to try and turn back this way again, because, yeah, fair enough, this thing has no armor, but I've still got more chance of bouncing off the front of my turret than I have off the back, or the side of my tank. Now, we do manage to finish the Leo off with the help of that tank, which is up by there. And I'm going to turn and go up, and I'm going to try and help this green tank over here, but as I do that, there is an Object 140 flying past, so I can't risk sitting out in the open. So instead, I'm going to try and slow this guy down to try and help that friendly over there. We already know it's going to be too late, and he is dead. So I am going to back up, and it's lucky I do, because as I do, there is a T-54 on his way up to say hello. Now this guy's in the best situation for me. I've got the best gun depression, which means I've got more chance of doing damage to him before he can do it to me. Now this one's a weird one. Check this out. He's on fire. I shoot him. He's still on fire. Then he ammo racks. But I got the ammo rack. I've never seen that before. It's almost like the ammo rack was on fire, but it just doesn't happen. So, yeah, that one really confused me. He was on fire. I shot him. He continued to be on fire. Then he blew up from the ammo rack. And I got the kill for it. Go figure. So yeah, this tank's now in trouble, so we are going for a track shot on that Object 140, and we don't get the kill the FV4202 does. Now it's just that Leo left. I'm basically just going to go try and ninja the kill. That FV4202 is hot on his tail though, so I don't know... Yeah, we're going to get it. But yeah, these are the advantages of the Leo to me. It's that amazing mobility to get up first and quickly and spot. Where my team are, they were going right. I'm by myself on the left, which means obviously we got the scout medal there. We got a high caliber and a first class for doing 4,800 damage. Now we got a first class in that, and we did well over 5,000 in the previous ones and only got a second. Which I find is basically all down to how much damage people do to tanks when you're tracking them, and obviously the scout medal, how much damage they do when you're spotting. This game, as is tradition with all my videos, basically is combining all the things I've tried to explain. So the Object 140 on my team is pushing up. I am hanging back just to make sure there's no big nasty tank destroyers down that open ridge. And when we notice the vast majority of the enemy team by here it means I can push the closer flank and start doing some damage down here. Again, you'll see I am trying to go for track shots. I missed that one though. And obviously this is a T-54E1, and I think he's either on a reload or he's just ignoring us. Which is when I noticed a grill staring at me. And when a grill is staring at you, I really don't want to stay still for too long, because that thing is insanely accurate. And they really hurt. Now I'm feeling a little bit pinned by here, because if I come out, that guy could easily take shots into me, and if he, well, he's dead now. But now he's dead, I'm not pinned. I can push forward, especially as I can see that grill running as well. Obviously, I could push left and help those guys, or I could distract a little bit, go up here, be on the flank ever so slightly, and be doing some damage and basically distracting them from my greens. I've got a shot in, some guns looked at me, and now I'm running away. Obviously with the intention of appearing somewhere else. Now I noticed that that FV was on low health. Dangerous Tank wanted to take it out, but the object in front of me did take him out. The E4 saw me by here, so obviously I am backing off in the aim of relocating again. Now, these guys do need help. So I'm going to pop over by here, using the rocks as cover, just to see what we can see. And by the look of it, there's an E100. We only do track damage shooting through. Obviously, we couldn't really get that much of an accurate shot on him. And as he is facing me, you'll notice I've loaded my heat and tried to penetrate his cheek, but it did not go through. The next one, however, is going to. It's going to go through the front drive wheel. Obviously, it's much weaker. It's easier to try and do damage from there. Now that the E100 is hiding though, I pulled out to see what else there was, forgot to change my ammo back to the APCR, and shot a heat round into the building. Which means, obviously, I did not penetrate and did not do any damage to that pattern. But we are now losing. We have 2 tanks left. They have 4 tanks left. My friendly medium is on the flank, so I am going for the cheek of that E100. Which is when the pattern comes back to say hello. And being as I have a lot more health, I can justify taking 1, maybe 2 shots off him to finish him off. Now, as I do that, my friendly is lost. And I'm going to use this dead pattern as cover, track that E5. As he is tracked, I'm coming back for 1 more, get 1 into him, and it's just me and that E4 left. Now I think this is very important. I am backing up and I've stopped by here. I want that E4 to think I am waiting here. Once he has dropped off, then you'll see I'm moving, because I've probably dropped off around the same time. Which means he thinks I am just waiting by there hiding, when I'm not. I'm running away. I want to appear somewhere else to him. That to me I think is very important, because it gives a nice element of surprise. What came as a nice surprise to me though, was the E4 had an engine boost, so he does get a shot into me. As he is trying to back up, I get 1 into him, and I'm booting it for him because I know he's on a reload. However, I screw up. Yeah, I track myself right in front of him. But I still had enough health to afford the hit. Now you'll notice I've gone for the track again, and now I'm behind him because his gun can't reach me. As he's coming back around, I don't have the gun depression over the back to get his back track. So I'm going to run around again. He could get me with his gun. Instead of doing damage, I just want to take the track off as quick as I can. Now that the track's off again, I can get back behind him. Again, get 1 into his engine with a chance of trying to get him on fire. There's no point going for his track because he was still tracked. However, now he's not. I'm going for his track again, which is literally how I like to play this thing non-stop. Track, track, track. And obviously we get the kill as a result. Jeez, that was an intense battle though. I literally landed and tracked myself right in front of his gun. But that one does give us a mastery. It was 5,535 damage. And obviously to go with that, we got that nice high caliber on the end there as well. Now that E4, he played a brilliant game. I've got to give it to him. He did over 4,000 damage in this game. And I still can't believe I tracked myself right in front of him. I kind of got lucky there. I mean, if he had HE, he still wouldn't have been able to penetrate me because he didn't have my side properly. I turned my tank just in time. But he fired AP anyway, which means he didn't have a high enough roll or average damage to kill me in that circumstance. That, my friends, is the Leo in short. Well, I say in short, nothing's ever short in my videos, I ramble. That is the Leo to me, though. That's how I like to play it. I hope you pulled some useful information out of this. And I again apologise for the dodgy sounding voice. Hopefully it'll be back by the next time I do the next video. Let's hope so, because it bloody hurts right now. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video, even with the weird voice. I hope there's some useful information and tips you can pull out of it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.